guys, welcome back to our channel. This is Summer with Little and Rose. Today we're going to make a beautiful Geode tumbler, and I'm going to walk you through it step by step. First, you're going to sand your tumbler with 220 grit sandpaper, then wash it with soap and water. When it's fully dry, you're going to base paint it with a white spray paint. Then we're going to mix up 5 grams of epoxy. Make sure you're using FDA compliant epoxy because it's going to be coming in contact with people's mouths. You're going to take that 5 grams of epoxy and pour it on the butt of the tumbler. Then you're going to work it very carefully with a lot of elbow grease from the butt all the way down and around all around the sides and edges of that tumbler. This method is called the hang method because it doesn't have to be on a turner for the epoxy to cure. There's such a small amount that it doesn't drip or anything on the tumbler when you hang it to dry. Once you have the epoxy all the way around the tumbler, you're going to dump on your glitter. For this method, you want a chunky opal white. Once you have your glitter on the tumbler, you want to press it down with the palm of your hand until it's flush and flat on the tumbler. Then you just hang your tumbler up on a towel rack for 12 hours to cure. Once the epoxy is cured for 12 hours, you're going to grab your favorite selections of alcohol inks. You'll also need some rubbing alcohol or blending solution. Apply your alcohol inks all over the surface of the tumbler, applying it directly onto the surface of that glitter. Once you have your alcohol ink all over your tumbler, you're going to then take your blending solution or the rubbing alcohol and drip it right on top of that alcohol ink. And it's going to blend and blur that alcohol ink, and it's going to spread out those alcohol inks where they blend together, and you can see the effects when you add the blending solution, and it just covers the entire tumbler. You want to let that alcohol ink dry completely, and then you want to add 2 coats of clear glossy spray paint. The clear glossy spray paint is going to help protect the alcohol inks when you apply your epoxy. This is a 20-ounce tumbler, so I'm using about 20 grams of epoxy, mixed equal parts A and B. You want the cup to rotate on what we call a tumbler turner while you apply your epoxy because epoxy is a self-leveling product. Spinning on the tumbler while it's curing will give you a nice, even, smooth surface. Continue to add coats of epoxy until you have that nice, glossy finish. When the tumbler is nice and smooth, it's time to lay on your spray paint. I'm layering on dark purple, black, gold, and white. Once all the layers of spray paint are completely dry, it's time to gently sand away the surface. I like to use a hand sander with 220 grit sandpaper. The goal here is to gently sand it away in a sporadic and uneven pattern. This is going to make it look more natural, like it's coming through an actual rock surface. You want to be careful to only sand through the paint, not the epoxy, because you don't want to damage the glitter underneath. If you notice your epoxy is no longer shiny, don't panic. What you want to do when you finish sanding this away is wash it with soap and water gently, let it completely dry, and then you're going to add your next coat of epoxy. The next coat of epoxy is going to shine that right back up, and it will get the beautiful glossy finish. It's now ready for your decals and your final coat of epoxy. For the final coat of epoxy on a 20-ounce tumbler, you want to use about 20 grams of epoxy, but it's going to take more or less based on your personal preferences. Once it's been applied, let it fully cure for a full 72 hours, and then it's ready to go. When you guys are ready to try this tumbler technique, make sure you wear the proper protection. A VOC chemical respirator and nitrile gloves is what you want to wear to protect your lungs and your skin. Enjoy and happy crafting, everyone. We'll see you guys on the next tutorial.